Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
February 29, 2020, the Velvet Rope edition, and of course, happy leap year to all you leap year babies out there. In our first article from the Wall Street Journal, the author Michael Beer, in his recent book, Fit to Compete, says that nearly every organization is grappling with huge strategic changes, and many of, or most of these efforts will fail, but he believes they miss the mark not because new strategy is flawed, but because the organization cannot carry them out. He's been collaborating with organizations for many years and analyzing the reason organizational transformations fail. The common root cause has been the failure of the organization to align culture and management process with strategic directions that they are seeking. So really interesting and certainly applicable for the compliance practitioner. Also from the Wall Street Journal, the SFO takes another one on the chin as former Barclays executives were acquitted of fraud charges dating back to the 2008 financial crisis. The 3 former Barclays executives, Roger Jenkins, Richard Borth, and Thomas Kalaris, were acquitted by a jury after a 5-month trial of conspiracy to commit fraud in relation to allegedly misleading markets and investors over capital raising agreements with the Qatarian government. The decision marked yet another defeat for the SFO. Cases against the bank and the former CEO of Barclays were also dismissed. Next up, in a really interesting article entitled When It's Easy at the Top, It's Harder for Everyone Else, in the New York Times business section, posits that America has tiered into or has morphed into a caste system where businesses are focused on the higher end and the highest end products and services for people who can afford those, and this exasperates the problem for those who can't afford it. It comes from a book entitled The Velvet Rope Economy, How Inequality Became Big Business. Ordinary experiences have deteriorated in quality, and a motivation to pay more for an upgrade and better treatment has become even more important. So a really interesting article about not so much the bifurcation of society, but really its impact and how businesses are catering to the highest end. And finally, your mother was always right. Don't mock people and don't make fun of people. As Boeing has learned, and now it's trying to get its MAX simulator plans approved by the FAA. The problem is the FAA experts who have to approve this were the same ones who were previously mocked by Boeing in internal emails, which showed company pilots ridiculing their counterparts at the FAA. So Boeing's past conduct, their past culture, their past toxicity have really come back to haunt them with the regulators. It's certainly one thing for people to think regulators are there to be Dr. No from the land of no, but to call them idiots and much worse in emails is one of the stupidest things that you can do. And of course, the Boeing culture was rife with stupidity in emails, as we've seen. So Boeing's facing a tough time. They have yet to really make amends, and they are dependent now on those same people that they have mocked for years. So mother was right. Pay attention. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening.